Welcome back everyone, it's NMeade here, back for another month of reviewing all of the world records set in Mario Kart Wii, reviewing all of the world records in May 2019. Now let me tell you guys, by May 16th, there were 3 world records set, but by the end of May, we had 17 world records set. We have 4 unique tracks with improvements, and 1 track in particular that had a lot of insane activity. Let's get started. Starting off the month of May, we had an improvement on the GBA Bowser Castle 3 shortcut category. Luke beat the previous world record of 157.981 by American player Choi, with a time of 157.627 on May 4th. As far as I'm aware, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is Luke's first 3 for 3 completed run, with failing plenty of 2 for 3 runs, with many of his attempts being broadcasted on his Twitch streams. Now, most of the chains in this run were either half chains or full chains, which definitely helped to provide as large of a cut as this was. As far as optimizing this track further with the current strategy that's used, there are just a few places where you can be either gaining a lot more time or losing time. That'll come from first, getting very good low jumps before the shortcut, which basically means getting as low of a trick as possible without clipping the back edge of the next island. The second area, which I think is fairly overlooked in my opinion, is the airtime you get into the island where you shroom. If you get, I guess I call it dead airtime, compared to getting very fast airtime into that island to do the shroom, you can lose some time on that. And I think that's completely dictated as to where you are hopping off of the ramp going into that island. Third is, of course, getting a very good shroom shortcut, of course, right? So there are 2 confounding variables that makes a shortcut a really good one. Now check this out. You are going over the lava. See that wall you're landing at the very end? There are blocks that actually make up that wall. So the further to the left you're cutting, aka the more blocks you're cutting off, you're saving time. So of course the distance traveled is one variable. The other variable is how fast you are going through the air, or what's quote unquote called zooming through the air. Sometimes they call it a zoom cut. You can visually see if it's a slower cut speed-wise going across, or if you're actually zooming across. And typically from what I've seen, it's harder to cut more of the cut if you're having a zoom across cut, but if you pull it off really well, you're going to save a lot of time that way. And the last major variable to consider is going to be getting as many full chains as possible. So there are 2 chain wheelies on the street on laps 1, 2, and 3, so there's 6. And then there's a very minor chain wheelie after the cut, right before you're rounding that dirt turn. So there's 3 more chains, so in total there are 9 chains that go into this run. And of course now we're still using Funky Kong on the Flame Runner, so its acceleration is not that great. So any notch below a full chain wheelie, you're going to be losing a fair amount of time. And to consider 9 chains throughout the entire run, it adds up fairly quick. In my opinion, the absolute limit of the current strategy for now is going to be no more than a very low 157 or a very high 156, and I really think that's highly unlikely. There has not been one sub 39 lap with the current strategy that's used. The only sub 39 lap that has happened for this category is when you use the shroomless cut, which I believe Choi is the only one to have pulled that off and has gotten a sub 39 lap ending run. Overall, good stuff Luke, and congrats on your improvement. Next up, as with the past couple of months as we've seen, we've had more activity on the no glitch category of Wario's Gold Mine. Vincent improved upon his own world record twice, actually on the same day, May 16th. He managed his first improvement of 4 milliseconds with a time of 150.692. And on the same day, a little bit after that first run, he makes another improvement by 1 millisecond with a time of 150.691. And around a week later, Luke would reclaim the world record on May 22nd with a time of 150.663. And almost 1 week after that, Vincent reclaimed the world record again with a time of 150.659. For those of you who have been watching this series for a while, and for all of the new viewers here, first off, welcome, how's it going? I have a playlist in the description below of all the prior months in this playlist, going back to as far as October 2018. so if you guys want to get up to speed, it's definitely a good playlist to check out. I have previously highlighted some areas for improvement on this track, and one in particular I spent quite some time divulging and kind of giving my input on, and also explaining the circumstances surrounding it as to where it would be beneficial or not beneficial. I want to highlight that now both Vincent and Luke are going for the Stella main turbo on laps 2 and 3 with each run at this point. I estimated that this saves roughly at most maybe 20 to 40, maybe 50 milliseconds a lap. That's kind of pushing it depending on how much it's optimized per lap, and it is clearly making a difference now at this point. A fun thing to note is now the official best known splits are now sub 150.5, totaling 150.476, as Vincent got the very first 36.7 lap with a lap of 36.798. As a lot of you have seen already, there have been progressive small cuts on this category of this track for a while, but please, this should really not diminish by any means just how hard this track is, especially at the level that both Vincent and Luke are presently pushing this at this point. So congrats to both Vincent and Luke on your respective improvements. On May 14th, Mario Kart Wii taster Sware uploaded a video showing that the Sherbet Land pole glitch is possible with the Magic Cruiser. From the words of Sware in his video description, for nearly 4 years we believed this glitch to be impossible with the Magic Cruiser, due to his lower speed stat making a high enough clip to reach the checkpoint box impossible. Therefore, we had always used a vehicle that the glitch was initially discovered with, the Spear. However, after further testing, I managed to perform the glitch with the Magic Cruiser instead of Spear. This change allows us to take advantage of the Magic Cruiser's high off-road stat in the glitch category of N64 Sherbet Land in the same way as the no glitch category. Now this was huge because you were losing on average at least roughly 4, maybe 5 seconds in total from Spear's driving versus the Magic Cruiser driving for the rest of the glitch run previously. However, a bigger discovery was made 2 days later on May 16th. Sware once more uploads a video to his YouTube channel, this time proving that you can land the Sherbet Land pole glitch without falling off and using only one shroom. Again, from the words of Sware in his video description, I can't believe I've done it. This is so precise that it's maybe just as hard as Rainbow Road glitch. I might want to make an explanation video about this since the glitch works with the 95% rule, just like on Coconut Mall. For those wondering what the 95% rule is, I will link an explanation video that was made by Malio of what the 95% rule entails in the description below, but in short, as far as I can kind of understand it to be, you must drive a small amount of the lap to at least activate the first key checkpoint, then you may go backwards, perform the glitch, land, hit the last key checkpoint, turn around, and go right into the finish line to count your lap. I'm not sure if you guys can already tell, but this discovery is amazing. Technically, this means that almost an entire minute can be cut from the glitch world record by theoretically pulling off 3 for 3 pole clip glitches utilizing one shroom without falling off. And a couple days later, on May 21st, a collaborative effort between TASers Akari, CF, Luke, Sware, and Thomas yielded a task time of 34 seconds, 990 milliseconds, cutting over 1 minute from the previous task time. Now, I know all of you guys are probably thinking, well, first of all, this is freaking great, right? We proved that this is theoretically possible, but in tasks. So, how long is it going to take before a human will be able to pull it off? Well, Sware uploaded that it was possible to land back on the track with a very precise clip on May 16th. And on the very same day, yes, on the very same day that it was proven possible where you can land without respawning, it was pulled off for the first time humanly in a run. Bryce becomes the first human to pull off the Sherbet Land pole glitch with Toadette and the Magic Cruiser, and without falling off and respawning, finishing with a time of 1:40.819, beating the previous world record by Guy that lasted 529 days by 2 seconds, 314 milliseconds. What's fascinating to me at least is that on the very next day, May 17th, Justin beat the world record with a time of 1:40.487, but using the spear. Justin had nearly 2 seconds of lead into lap 2 over Bryce, and almost all of that time was lost from spear driving versus Magic Cruiser driving here, with Magic Cruiser having a far more favorable off-road bonus and a far more favorable drift stat. The rest of the improvements this month in this category were all set with the Magic Cruiser, and I'll show them now. Up first, almost 1 second was cut off by Blaze, also on May 17th, with a time of 1:39.566. The next day, Ross would set his first world record overall during this glitch craze, congratulations by the way, with a time of 1:39.552. Also on May 18th, we saw 2 more improvements, with the world record going down 2 additional seconds. First, we have Bryce improving the world record by close to 1 second, with a time of 1:38.820, and shortly thereafter, Blaze claimed it back with a time of 1:37.774, cutting over 1 second from the record. Blaze's time would stand for 3 days until it was improved again. This time, Logan getting his hands into the mix with a time of 1:37.624 on May 21st, and improving his own time a day later with a time of 1:37.279. 2 days later, Ross would improve the world record again with a time of 1:37.066 on May 24th. Now guys, one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen, apart from all this amazing discoveries and activity and the progress that we pulled off this month, is 6 days later, at the second to last day of the month, Logan would tie Ross's time with a 1:37.066. When I first saw this, I was of course baffled, and I also thought, I've been looking at world records since 2008. In my memory, I do not ever remember seeing a world record tie on a glitch category. So I went through one of the useful pages on mkwrs.com, and this page shows off all the ties in this game's history. And this is the very first time that there has been a world record tie on a glitch category. Typically, classically, you would expect this on the track that has very little variance, very little variables to consider. Classic case in point would be SNES Mario Circuit 3, which I think I saw has had at least 2 or 3 ties in this 11-year history of the game. But you would never expect a tie in a glitch category, especially with this new discovery that just happened this month. Absolutely crazy, guys. And lastly, to finish off the Sherbet Land craze this month, on the same day that Logan made the tie, Ross improved a third time with a record of 1:36.835, getting the first sub 137 with the 1:43 glitch. Overall, guys, this has been very exciting to observe, to see how things have unfolded as they have so far after this discovery was made. Now, until someone lands the first 2-for-3 pole glitch run, optimizing this 1-for-3 run will come down to how fast of a setup you have into the glitch and the recovery afterwards, and lastly, optimizing the no glitch driving for laps 2 and 3. I'm sure we will see a lot more efforts to get the very first 2-for-3 run in the coming months. So collectively, big congrats to Bryce, Justin, Blaze, Ross, and Logan. Wrapping up the month of May, we had an improvement on DS Yoshi Falls. Breakson reclaimed the world record from David, improving upon the world record by 28 milliseconds with a time of 58.747 on May 24th. Now, looks are definitely deceiving on certain tracks as to where time loss actually comes from, especially at high levels on tracks like this. Most time save on this track is going to come from getting the stick on this transition all 3 laps, and even the mechanics for this, at least to my knowledge, are still not completely understood, at least to me anyway. Second, getting favorable fast airtime through this last waterfall. And lastly, also utilizing the main turbo strategy into laps 2 and 3. Now, I remember when Cole first beat Omega's landmark 59 flat world record with the first sub 59 on this track, and utilized the main turbo strategy into laps 2 and 3. And I believe he mentioned that this strategy provides a very marginal time save each lap. But at least in this comparison of Breakson to David, it looks like it saved quite some time. Though I do believe whether players go for this or not is heavily position based, whether you're almost parallel flush with that wooden wall on the right hand side, or if you have more of a wider alignment into each lap. Overall, Brigson lost a fair amount of time at the very end after releasing the last main turbo into the finish line, having a much wider alignment than David did. However, Brigson did get the full chain wheelie, and at this point, it clearly made the difference. Congrats Brigson on your improvement. And with that, my fellas, we conclude the review of the world record progression of May 2019. Guys, what an eventful this month has wound up being. You really never know what's going to shake up the activity on these tracks in the end. So I really hope that all of you guys have been enjoying this series as much as I do. If you have not done so already, definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to see more time trial content like this to the channel, and also giving the video a thumbs up as it definitely helps with the growth of the channel. Summertime is here guys, and there's going to be a lot more time trial series coming in these next couple of months, and I would love to see all of you guys following along. So until then, I'll be seeing all of you guys, my fellas, in the next video where we will review all of the world records set in June 2019. Take care.